Welcome to the Pitcher Nail Down. I'm Jason Gilbo at jgilbo11, breaking down tonight's Wednesday slate of pitching options. Overall, we got a decent slate here on the larger side as well. Two cash game guys that do stand out for me, a couple borderline guys as well, some good GPP pivots. We do have Yu Darvish. We do have Carlos Martinez, Carlos Carrasco, Mike Fiers, Jake Arrieta. So big names here. Should be about five of these guys I think have legitimate upside in this one. My favorite here, we're looking at Carlos Carrasco going up against the Angels. He's a guy who's been struggling a little bit at home this season. Angels obviously are a bottom five WOBA, bottom five ISO team against right-handed pitching this year. 20% strikeout rate. Not much has changed of late. They ranked dead last in WOBA they ranked 30th in WOBA in the last 30 days. Still bottom five in ISO. You look at Carlos Carrasco, he struggled a little bit this year, 3.34 WOBA to lefties, 36% hard contact rate. Outside of Cole Calhoun, there's really no one on the left side that really scares me away. I know Luis Valbuena has some power. Obviously, both of them hit homers last night, knocked around Clevenger pretty early. But you look at him, I mean, against righties, he's really strong, 269 WOBA, 30% strikeout rate. He's been a little bit, worse off in progressive field than he has on the road. But the Angels offense is just not that good. And I still think there is some strikeout upside here, about 7-8 strikeouts. He's not overly priced to the point where I worry about the 20% strikeout rate that the Angels have. Carrasco's still, a double-digit swing strike rate in all but two starts this year, 13% on the season. He's a solid arm. He's not a must-play for me tonight. I don't think there's anyone that's really a must-play arm, but I do like Carrasco quite a bit in all formats. Moving forward here, next one, I love Mike Fiers. Took a deeper kind of look into what he's been doing this year. Obviously struggled over his first 10 starts, but since then he's been terrific. Gets a Phillies offense, 27th in WOBA, 23.7% strikeout rate. We've been picking on him. Obviously the Peacock start didn't work out, but Charlie Morton, an excellent start last night. 24% strikeout rate over the last 30 days. Phillies just kind of provide that safe floor, that the GPP type ceilings that you can win with guys like Fiers even. So look, tonight's really no different. Fiers has an excellent price on FanDuel. DraftKings, he's obviously priced up, so you're not getting the same discount, but he's obviously one of the guys who I can trust on this slate, which is crazy to say because I didn't think I could trust Mike Fiers ever. But looking at what he's done this year, I mean, he's changed up his pitch usage. He's pretty much gotten rid of the slider. He's throwing the changeup and curveball over 20% of the time. That was below 19% in April and May. You look at swing strike rate, 9.5% over his last 10 starts, 27.6% strikeout rate, 3.70 xFIP. Fiers has just quietly been dominating. I mean, I don't think tonight's going to be any different here. And he comes in really kind of rivaling Carrasco as that number one option, even with, guys like Yu Darvish going tonight. So Carrasco definitely an intriguing arm. Between him and Carrasco, I think that's kind of where you're looking for cash games tonight. You can make the case for a cheaper SP2 as well. Moving forward, Jake Arrieta, a couple serviceable outings of late. He's just the GPP guy tonight to consider. I wouldn't say he's back. He's allowed 600 runs over his last 4 starts. That's very solid. Swing strike rate's still not really that great. It's only been over 10% in 3 of his last 10 starts. Still not allowing a ton of hard contact. That's kind of the positive here. He's holding righties to a 289 WOBA, lefties 340 WOBA. This is kind of a righty-heavy lineup. The only real lefty that you have any concern about is Melky Cabrera, and that's not enough to kind of make me shy away. A lot of strikeouts here. You got Moncada, you got Matt Davidson, who can provide a couple of strikeouts apiece. Chicago, 24th in ISO, 28th in WOBA against righties this year, 22.3% strikeout rate. Cubs are huge favorites. Cubs have a huge run total. You look at Vegas, everything kind of checks out. I think Arrieta is one of those borderline SP2 guys you can take a look at. Should get plenty of run support, should pick up the win. I think this offense is bad enough for Arrieta to go out there and throw about 6 strong innings with the room for more. But I definitely kind of just see him as a tournament arm on FanDuel. He's borderline cash on DraftKings and Yahoo. Carlos Martinez, he's in that same boat for me. I like him as a pivot away from kind of guys on Fiers on FanDuel. 10% swinging strike rate this year, 25% strikeout rate. Kind of been a little bit more inconsistent of late, but you look at his numbers this year, they've been solid, better off at home. This is a Colorado team that does strike out quite a bit against righties. They obviously struggle away from home as well. So for me, I think he's an intriguing guy to throw in with kind of the area of the tier there. Deeper GPP play, Aaron Nola. Kind of looking at this offense right now, I don't expect George Springer to be back in the lineup. They're already without Carlos Correa. A lot of young guys, a lot of guys that, are kind of boomer bust. I look at Nola and I just go, man, I don't know how much people are actually going to play him tonight. He's on the cheaper side still. Still a Houston team that, can get to anyone. But you look at Nola, I mean, if he's going to be facing – if the lineup comes out and there's a lot of lefties in this lineup, then I worry about him a little bit. He's not bad against lefty, but he's not good either. 326 WOBA allowed, 35% contact rate. Obviously, Reddick, McCann, Marwin Gonzalez are probably the three that you'd have concerns about. But he's really tough on righties, 29.1% strikeout rate, 51% ground ball rate. He also induces a 27.4% soft contact rate. So for me, I mean, I just look here and I think – if Nola can get through 6-7 strong innings against a good Houston team at lower ownership, he could be having a chance to pick up a win. This is a really close call. Fires is a small road favorite. Fires is Nola's the underdog here. But you look, I mean, go back to June 16th. You have to find a start where he's allowed 2 or more earned runs, or he's allowed more than 2 earned runs. He's been really strong, 6 strikeouts and or more in 9 straight starts, 8 or more in 5 of those 9. I definitely like Nola here in GPPs. I still think he's playable. Last guy I do want to talk about, it's Steven Matz. I can't quit it. He's had 3 really good matchups in a row. Has slowly gotten better. He was awful against Colorado. He was average against Oakland. Could we get a decent start on Matz here in San Diego? I certainly believe it. San Diego dead last in a wOBA against lefties, bottom 5 in ISO, 25.7% strikeout rate. Obviously, you look at Matz. I mean, he's allowed 18 hits over his last 2 outings. Poor opponents too. I still like the upside. I still think he's a serviceable SP2. It's not like he's been bad all year. He's had limited starts, but he's been good against Washington twice. He's been fine against Los Angeles, Miami, both on the road. His struggles did come against Colorado, St. Louis. He's still on the cheaper side. I still think he can miss some bats here. I still think he allows a little bit of leeway in terms of kind of getting some bats into your lineup. So I don't mind Matz as an SP2. Cash game, I think it's borderline. I think GPPs, GPPs he's fine, but cash, it's just all about your risk tolerance on this slate. I don't think there's a true offense to pay up for outside of the Cubs, and I don't even think they're really all that expensive outside of Bryant and Rizzo. So you should be able to work in and get some pieces anyway. But to kind of wrap things up, I didn't talk about Yu Darvish. That's just because I'm not really on him tonight. Pitching at home against Miami, it's just not really an appealing matchup. You can make the case for him in GPPs. I won't go that route in cash games, but I don't mind him. I'm just not going to have any exposure to him tonight. Carrasco, Fires, definitely your top tier cash and GPP arms for me tonight. Arrieta, Martinez, Nola are kind of your better borderline cash SP2s and also GPP guys. Steven Matz is kind of that tier 3 guy that you can take a look at. More so as an SP2. I don't know how much exposure I would use for him on FanDuel, just given the fact that there are better options at better prices. So that's kind of where I stand there. So that's going to wrap it up for me. You can head over to DaveFastCafe.com, check out great tools and content.